Sherry, we had some technical difficulties in the last segment. We thank you for bearing with us and coming back here on the phone with us. I want you to pick up where you left off, Sherry. Over to you.
Thank you so much. Apologies for the crackly line. I think we were talking about the Global Times article, and it's part of this campaign by China against Australia. And instead of accepting that there are legitimate issues of foreign interference that Australia is pushing back against and that journalists like me are writing about, instead they swing their propaganda into full swing, including, their mouthpiece, the Global Times, and attack journalists.
Steve?
Yeah, Sherry, talk to us about this we just had to talk about the broader aspects of information warfare of the Chinese Communist Party. It looks like Raheem said earlier, when we had the technical problem with you, he thinks they're in panic mode. Walk through this massive social media data, what they're doing and how they're targeting people. Does this show you think they're winning, or do you think they're actually losing and they're in panic mode and now they're just coming after, all prominent politicians and business people that are anti-CCP?
Look, I think they're very aggressive at the moment. They've really stepped up their efforts of hacking, of espionage, of interference, of infiltration. But there's a lot of pushback against it in the world. I mean, there's some who seem to not realize the severity of this problem, and unfortunately, I think that's driven by political ideologies. But, there are people within China, there are whistleblowers, there are activists who are starting to leak this information. That's how this database, that's the Zhenhua database that's being reported all over the world. It's a big story all over the world because it shows that a company that has done work for Chinese intelligence is tracking, and by tracking, collecting open source intelligence on 2.4 million people who they deem to be influential around the world, from politicians to academics to people in the military, senior naval officers. So, this is really a serious business, but people are starting to leak this. And a whistleblower leaked this database to some cybersecurity experts. You mentioned one of them a minute ago, Chris Balding. And, they're getting it out there into the public domain. But, look, it's a very aggressive form of, attempted infiltration into democracies. And, we need to wake up and realize what's going on.
Sherry, what's the political climate right now in Australia? You just got attacked by the Global Times, the tabloid, the New York Post of the Chinese Communist Party. You just got personally attacked. Other people have been down there and attacked. We keep saying that Australia is the canary in the mine shaft. Clive Hamilton just came out with this book, Hidden Hand, that talks about the problems in London and in New York and in D.C. He did Silent Invasion a number of years ago. What is the current kind of political atmosphere down there about the Chinese Communist Party and their infiltration into the West?
It's fascinating. In the U.S., I think that a lot of people in the U.S. don't want to believe that this is a big problem, that Chinese infiltration is a big problem, and that's because they think it could benefit Trump. In Australia, this is a completely different political climate. Not that there aren't people who are pushing back to that idea, but there's this realization that this is a very tense political and diplomatic relationship at the moment between Australia and China. As I was saying before I cut out, Chinese politicians haven't taken the call of our most senior ministers in a long time now. They're putting tariffs on Australian products, on beef and wine, in retaliation for Australia calling for an inquiry into the origins of COVID-19. This is really a very difficult relationship. Our security agency, ASIO, has just launched an investigation and cancelled the visas of some Chinese journalists and academics. There's an active investigation that involves the staff member of a politician, for alleged foreign interference. And the boss of ASIO, the security agency, has also warned about hacking of research institutions working on a coronavirus vaccine. He didn't mention about China, but everyone can read between the lines and know that is, it's China who's been doing the hacking.
Are the Australian...
Can I...
Yeah, go ahead, Jack.
So, Steve, I think you and I had probably the same follow-up question. Shari, I can't move at the moment for Australians reaching out to me and saying that they are becoming increasingly hawkish about the Chinese Communist Party, but also increasingly dismayed with some of the politicians over there, just like the rest of us around the rest of the world, at the lack of action being taken against the Chinese Communist Party. Are the Australian people really getting riled up about this?
Absolutely. This is an issue that people are really concerned about. You know, the level of hacking that we've been told that is going on of our political and medical institutions, the level of foreign interference, the level of foreign investment that's been allowed to happen as well of critical assets like the Port of Darwin is really concerning to people. The current government, though, is taking action. So, you know, when I came on the show recently to talk about the 1,000 Talents Plan, how the Chinese government is recruiting academics from around the world with the aim of stealing IP, there's now an intelligence committee inquiry into foreign interference in our universities. Our Prime Minister's just announced really tough national security laws, which also target foreign interference. So, you know, I think our government is taking extremely strong action in this area, and it's what the people are demanding.